Myrrh. It felt like a cheap ripoff of something from Goldeneye. I don't know
To
why.
me, I was feeling a little San Andreas because at first when it started, I'm like in my head, I was like, and then the Doom music kicked in, and I'm like, no, he's not gonna go hardcore Doom, and then it
No.
sort of went San Andreas for me.
I always know when his beat when the kick's gonna drop though on his beats. But over the last 2 years, I've heard enough of him, and so
I got something you can drop.
I doubt it.
You can't drop it? What do you mean?
No,
I doubt it.
I don't.
You don't think you can drop it?
I don't think I can. I think
What does
once
that
I got a
even
hold,
mean?
because once I got a hold of that motherfucker, I'd never let go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we were discussing diet before the intro music.
You guys know what's weird is that
What's
like
weird?
I'm just kidding.
I mean, we all have ADHD and we all do that to each other. So, I mean, like recording it wouldn't phase me. So, yeah. So I've been counting calories, keep myself about 1,500 a day, doing well, and I am losing some gut. Um, but today my breakfast consisted of a half cup of the Monster Trail Mix. You know what I'm talking about, Adam?
Oh yes, that is good
The
stuff.
fuck is
Fucking
Monster Trail Mix? Is it like werewolf dick and pecans or something?
yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I think Target makes it. It's like
yeah.
a
They have special Target werewolf dicks.
Yeah.
yes.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's a lot of companies make it, but the Target brand is called Monster Mix, and it's like M&M's, peanut butter chips, I think peanuts, raisins, maybe like
Peanut butter chips.
yeah, not pecans, cashews or something.
Yeah, it's
But
really good.
yeah, it is a perfect mix of salt and sugar, and a quarter cup of it, which is like 32 grams, is 170 calories. And as we've talked before, anybody that like exercises with a smartwatch or whatever knows that it takes about 3 miles at 4 to 4.5 miles, or 3 miles at 3 to 3.5 miles an hour on a treadmill to burn about like some between 170 and 200. So think about that when you're horking down a candy bar. Um, but yeah, that was my breakfast, and then my lunch consisted of two double cheeseburgers from McDonald's, which is about 800 calories. Um, so yeah, I'm at like 1,200 for the day. It's fucking amazing if you start to track your calories. One, that junk food, shitty food, processed food has way more calories per dollar, right, than uh, decent food that's good for you. Uh, but it's real easy to hit fucking 3,000 calories a day
Oh
when
yeah.
you burn like 1,600, 1,700 just by like existing throughout your day. When you have jobs like we do, where you sit at a computer most of your day. I mean, I'm a, we've all mentioned before, we're in telecom, and I was out in the field, and I was climbing utility poles and carrying ladders and digging ditches and shit. And um, looking back now and knowing how many calories I eat now, I know that I was putting down 3 to 4,000 calories a day back then, and I weighed like 140, easily. But yeah, between getting older and sedentary, I've gotten fat. So
Yes,
and
it's very
it's
easy to put it on. It doesn't help that like our like when I go to work, I'm at a desk and at a computer, and then my hobbies all include sitting at a desk at a computer.
Yeah, right. No, it doesn't help at all. No, it does not. So you've lost quite a bit of weight though over the last few weeks.
Yeah, 18 or 19 pounds so far.
Yeah, that's fucking
Wow.
significant, man. That's
Yeah,
uh, that's a good job. So, and that's been what? Just is that diet and exercise? Diet mostly. What is it? Do you think?
mostly diet. I've been exercising a little bit, but
Yeah.
my nerve stuff has been interfering. So just
You
doing
Well, and
missed
treadmill.
your opportunity for good bullshit right there. What are the effects? Well, now I can shoot lasers out of my dick, and
All right,
what have
hang
you
on,
been
hang on.
doing?
Let me give me a do over.
Yeah. What have you been doing, and what are the effects?
So I've been hitting the treadmill, doing 30 minutes on the treadmill every day, eating not a lot of carbs and sugar, and so far I'm losing weight, and I'm able to shoot lasers out of my eyes, and I have what is called meat vision instead of heat vision. So I'm also shooting hot dogs out of my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
Hot dog
Nothing.
eyes. I
There's
like it.
nothing. Nothing. Yeah. Wiener vision.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Wiener
my
vision. I
favorite
think.
channel.
I really think it's everyone's favorite channel. Quite frankly, Wiener Vision, now part of Telemundo,
Now in HD.
now in HD. Yeah, when I think Wiener Vision, I think HD.
Hard
So,
dick.
yes, Adam, hard dick,
Hard
exactly.
dick. HD.
I was doing well with the treadmill, and then the last week or two, I was like, bleh. It's probably because I'm only eating 1,000 to 1,500 calories a day. I probably don't have enough energy to
Energy.
get on
Yeah.
the fucking thing.
Yeah, it's tough to
So,
diet and exercise.
yes, it is. And
It's easy to do one.
most people don't, the human body actually doesn't like to exercise. And people have argued with me about that. And I'm like, dude, there have been studies upon studies upon studies about that. Most people do not like to exercise. Your body doesn't like to just burn energy and calories for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
It's you're programmed not. We would have been lazy fucks. We would have hunted our food, got our food, and laid around until the sun went down and we meandered on to the next fucking place. So I guess you'd get exercise walking, you'd burn your calories like that. But
The life.
and there's right. And there's a lot of people that will argue because they're like, oh, I love to exercise. Okay, yeah, there's always fucking genetic anomalies in all of creation. But most people do not. Exercising is very difficult to get moving. And I know I feel better. Hell, even my mental health is better when I exercise a little bit. And I always hated those fucking people that you just need diet and exercise. And it's like, I will cut you while I'm eating this Snickers bar.
It's like
Um,
No,
you
it's
just
something
need.
else. It's something else.
It's like you just need to shut the fuck up. That's what.
Yeah, right. It'd be good for my mental health? You shutting the fuck up. And that's what. But it is true. As I change my diet and do a little light exercise, I'm never going to be ripped or buff or huge or whatever. It's just never, I'm not that dedicated to it. When I used to go to the gym, you'd see those folks in there. And when I lived in Birmingham, Alabama, I used to go to a Gold's gym, and there were these women in there that were there every time I came in, and they're just stunning, chiseled bodies and beautiful, and their hair's perfect. And talking to the manager of the place, come to find out they were cheerleaders for a local sports team, and I don't remember. Not the Barons, because I think that was baseball. Did Birmingham have a basketball team or something? I don't remember.
Not a
But
pro, not a pro nor a semi-pro one that I'm aware of.
I'm not either, and I can't.
They
I
had
can't.
they've got the hockey team, the Birmingham Bulls. They've got the
Mhm,
Birmingham Barons, and now since it keeps getting recycled,
mhm,
the football team, the Birmingham Stallions, is back.
mm.
It's in that XFL league or whatever
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
At
Maybe they
one
were.
time
Maybe
was
that was it.
Canadian League or
Yeah, it
have
may
you.
have been XFL or Canadian CFL. The guy told me that they were basically professional cheerleaders, which for CFL, XFL, they're not going to make any money. A an NFL cheerleader makes like 22,000 a year.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
god.
So
yeah,
like a
it's
sub league thing is even less.
right. If anything, it's really just for it's like a jump off point for models and actresses and stuff like that to, hey, I was a Broncos cheerleader, but whatever. But yeah, I guess these women were professional models and like sports team. So they were in there. Literally didn't matter what day I went in or what time. It seemed like these women were in there. And then I started to notice these guys that were in there all the time. And again, just gorgeous Adonis human beings. And it was
You
like,
noticed the guy's second, huh?
well, yeah. I mean,
You're like, oh yeah, and apparently there were guys in there too.
sorry, I'm cisgender and heterosexual, and I notice these things, right? I can say a dude's good looking and not, and you're gay. No, I can objectively say that guy's fucking good looking, man.
Yeah.
Um, but I didn't notice the trend in the guys. No, because I was watching the asses in front of me. You could bounce a quarter off of. I'm not gonna fucking lie. I was watching. Um, but the point being is that these women were in there 6 hours a day, easy. So when you'll see somebody and you see a really good looking guy, a really chiseled dude, or a really chiseled chick, and you're like, oh my God, oh, look at her. And I'd love to date her or him or whatever. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't. You don't get off the fucking couch. You really think y'all are going to have anything in common at all? You're not. You've watched too many fucking movies, too many Hallmark movies. Because that's not going to happen. High maintenance is something that I've just never been able to deal with.
Fuck
My,
no.
my ex-wife was not high maintenance. She wore a little makeup and put herself together. My girlfriend now does her makeup, but it's not, you know, it's not high maintenance. There's a difference. I know guys that it takes their girl 2 hours to get ready and the fake eyelashes and all that. But I know dudes that are the same way. And I always think when a chick sees a guy, I'll be out with friends and some chick will see a guy, a friend of mine, be like, oh, that guy's so hot. And I'm looking at him thinking, that dude spends more time in the bathroom getting ready than you do,
Oh
right?
yeah.
You can see it. He looks like something off fucking Jersey Shore. So, hey, if you want to go get a dick appointment with him, I completely understand. But you don't want a relationship with that type of person. Or maybe you do. If you're that kind of person, I could see where you would have that in common. But your average Joe or average Jane, don't try to get in with a gym rat because
I wouldn't anyway. And it's you're seeing all these things now about it's like I understand when ladies want a separate workout space or what have you,
oh yeah.
but now there's this and maybe it's being overblown because you know how shit gets picked up and yada
Mm-hmm.
yada yada. But like if somebody's working out and I glance your direction,
Right.
I'm not staring at you.
Right.
If you want me to stare at you and show you what uncomfortable looks like, I will rub myself on the outside of my pants while I look like I'm looking at steak to show you what
you using
inappropriate
that
looking
bar?
looks like. I'm
That,
just saying.
no, and
It's
it has been. And not only has it gotten out of control, it was recently a few weeks ago. There was a TikToker or whatever they influencer, whatever they want to be called, and she got called out on social media, including by this guy. I can't think of his name or what he calls himself. The
we'll
Gym
just
King
call
or
him workout bro.
Workout Bro. He's actually a good dude.
Yeah.
I've seen his videos before, and he's very very positive
You
about.
talking about Liver King?
No, no, no,
No.
no, no,
Oh.
not that
Fuck that
dumb
guy.
fucker. Yeah, no, this guy he calls himself like the Gym King or something like that, and he's a big ambassador, big dude, but he's a big ambassador of like being cool in the gym, and like he doesn't tolerate any of the stupid bullshit of like shaming people and stuff like that. His whole thing is, if you like doing it and that's great, you should encourage other people to like it, not be a gatekeeper, not be a dick, right? And he even got a hold of this chick and tore her a new ass because she's really making this big deal out of this guy, and he does glance over at her a few times, and at one point even walks over to ask if she wants some help with one of like 45-pound plates, and she's making this way over dramatic deal about it, right?
Yeah.
And later on, come to find out, the guy he somebody must have hit him up about it, like, hey man, that's your face. And he's like, I wanted to use that space. Like she was somewhere that I wanted to be, and she's over there with her camera and everything. So he's like, hey, can I help you? And then what was really interesting is the article that I read, or I think it was a video of a guy kind of going off about it. He showed another one where this chick, she pulls off her shirt in the middle of the gym and she's wearing like a sports bra. And she keeps looking back at this dude, looks over at her and looks back and continues to have his conversation. And she's like, can I help you? Can I help you? Excuse me, can I help you? And the guy walks over. He's like, is there a problem? Turns out the dude worked at the gym. And he basically told her, he's like, you can leave now, you know?
Well,
But
here's
it's,
my thing about people that do this, right? So you're concerned that someone
mm-hmm,
is staring at you
mm-hmm.
while you're filming a TikTok to post for millions of people to see.
Mm-hmm. Bingo.
It's
Right?
rage bait. They're just trying to be mad.
That's exactly what it is. It's to get other people. And it's just gotten to a point where, I've looked at people, dude, I've been in the gym and looked over because I did think someone was attractive, right? I looked over and thought, damn, and went back to what I was doing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're in a public place, you're physically incredible. I'm going to look over and admire. Sorry. There is a difference between admiring and being a lecherous fuck, like Doug said. You look over and I'm like stroking myself. You
Walk over
know,
and lay your gut on the barbell.
you
Yeah.
like big boys. You need a daddy.
Well, and the whole thing about that for me, it's like, okay, so all of us are used to seeing normal, average, everyday people. That's who
Mm-hmm.
you run into
Mm-hmm.
constantly.
Right.
And let's say you see someone who's insanely attractive,
Mm-hmm.
or they have larger, a larger than average size body part, where,
Big old bitties.
whether it's, their butt or their boobs or whatever else, if it's something outside the norm,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to attract more attention in and of itself. Just
Absolutely.
for just for instance, let's say you've got a large-breasted woman that comes in the gym. Well, that's going to attract a certain amount of attention. But
Mm-hmm.
if you got a guy who's like Popeye framed, where
Mm-hmm.
he's this fucking stick and his
Mm-hmm.
biceps are a stick, but he had these insanely huge forearms
Mm-hmm.
that were like, 18, 20 inches around, looked like he
Right.
had two waists holding his hands on there.
Mm-hmm.
A woman would look, not
Right.
because she's like, I'm objectifying him, because it's like, wow, that's different. That's
Right.
unusual. That's
Oh,
weird.
right. If I see a guy with fucking, lats, traps, whatever, up to his fucking ears, I'm gonna look at him for a second. Like, well, that's different. How the fuck
Yeah,
did he get those? I'm like, what exercise? Jesus Christ, dude.
exactly. And
No,
you have
and
no
you're
desire to
exactly
fuck
right.
him.
No,
I
I
have
do
no
not.
desire to fuck him.
No.
But it's like, once you see something that's visually striking,
Right.
there's going to be, it's not going to just be a glance. There's going to be a second glance where you're
Right.
like, did I see what I thought I saw? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
There was
Totally.
a
I'm not hallucinating here.
no, and I think it's natural. There was a woman that went to the gym, the last gym that I went to, and I remember she was same thing, right? Large breasts, they appeared to be augmented, we'll say. Um, Big ass that was just perfectly formed, looked like somebody drew her out of a comic book, covered in great tattoos. She had that gray, like the silver hair, and just an absolute stunning young woman. And yes, I looked at her, right? But again, it wasn't lecherous. I wasn't objectifying. She was just stunning. And hey, sorry, but thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands of years of evolution have put a little kidney bean sized part in my brain that's going to look over and go, well, she's attractive as fuck. That's not disrespectful, right? There is a difference between admiring, being flattering, whatever you want to call it. But you know what the difference between a woman being flattered and creeped out is when a guy says or does something?
if they find him attractive or not.
Bingo. That's exactly right. If you are an attractive male, or you obviously are bleeding cash, and you look over at a woman who's physically attractive, they're flattered, tee hee. If you're a fat old dad bod like me, they're like, ew, stop, you fucking creeper. So there's a little bit of a double standard there, right?
Oh yeah,
Whereas guys, we're flattered if any chick checks us out.
yeah, and at the same time, if I looked at someone, regardless, male or female, that I thought was attractive, and they caught me looking, I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be embarrassed. I would literally give them like a thumbs up sign. It's
Right?
like, yeah,
Yes, I'm checking you
I,
out.
I'm not coming over there to fuck you, but whatever you're doing, it's working for you. Thumbs up. Have a good day.
Yes,
That's the
sir.
point. Stop.
Yes, sir. And that's, hey, look, it's you got to shoot your shot, right? And if I'm somewhere and I see an attractive woman and I look over at her and smile or whatever, and she's like, fuck you, I'm like, okie dokie. And I move on about my business. But how do I know? How do I know that she doesn't find me attractive? How do I know that I don't say something funny and she says, hey, let's go get drinks or whatever? You don't know. And for a guy to try to date nowadays, man, up until I guess it was September of last year when Brittany and I started dating, I was trying to date, and I'm telling you, it's fucking hard. You there there are so many rules now, and it's women, well, men just don't ask us out anymore. Why the fuck should we? Like, if we do, right, we run the risk of being accused of being a lecherous bastard, being gross. um, you want us to pay for everything. You want us to put everything together. You want us to be this quote unquote alpha male, but then over time, then we're just being overbearing, right?
Or toxic masculinity, or
Toxic masculinity,
well,
absolutely, right?
see,
Fuck.
here's the thing. It's like, let's say for instance, somebody, you start dating someone, you're married, what have you. It's There are some people out there that like to complain and like to be miserable. I know some dudes that are that way, but I've known more women that were that way. And it's like, and when it comes to one of those guys or one of those girls, no matter what you do, if you do specifically to the letter exactly what they ask you to do in the fashion that they ask you to do it, they will still find something wrong with it. It's like, you don't have enough money. Okay, well, I'll spend some more time at work to earn more money. Well, you're never around. And and it goes back and forth like that. Okay, well, I'll spend more time at home. You're always up under my feet. I can't fucking stand you. I mean, there are so many sides to that they can come back and say something negative about, no matter what it is.
Mhm.
So, it's like, when I run into those people, and as soon as I recognize that they are one of those people, I'm like, nah, fuck you. You can bitch and do whatever, but I'm not messing with you.
No, some people are definitely just destined to be fucking miserable, or they enjoy the misery. Um, People that stay in toxic relationships, they're. I read something once that said a wounded animal will return home even when home is not safe, and that the way that boils down to people is that when you see people that continue to get into toxic relationships, what they're doing is they're living out the shit that happened to them as a kid, whether it was abusive or just a lack of real affection or, excuse me, whatever the case is. People tend to go back to what they know, whether it's right or wrong. And I know so many people, and I was the same way. I did the same thing until a few years ago, got into therapy, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I see so many people that still do that, my age, older than me, etc. And it's sad, but there is one thing that I do not get involved with, and that is my friends' relationships, like romantic relationships. Brittany and I were having that conversation, and I said, "Yeah, that like I'm there for people if you want to talk to me, and I'll let you bitch about the same shit over and over and over again, right? He's mean to me. She doesn't give me attention, whatever. Like, oh, yeah, again, just like last week. I'm fine, whatever. I'll let you vent. But I have lost friends. I have gotten myself into some real shit shows opening my mouth when it comes. It's like people know what the problem is. They know they're in a toxic relationship, right? And they'll tell you all about the toxicity. But the minute you go, hey, do you think maybe you're in a toxic relationship? All bets are off.
Well,
all bets are off.
just like some people like being miserable, some people enjoy, I mean, even though they may not outwardly express that,
Mm-hmm.
they find some joy in the emotional roller coaster.
They
It's
do, and that's
it
what it's a comfort. Even if it's not joy, it's a comfort. It's a they know it, if that
well,
makes sense.
it's there are some of these guys, girls, what have you, that through no fault of their own, obviously, that that they may be bipolar, to where
Mm-hmm.
things switch on a freaking dime. And you've heard the story of the of various women that keep going back to various abusers, but that's because that woman, she finds some sort of solace or some sort of stimuli in that uncertainty, because
Yeah.
there are there are whole movie genres out there for ladies where it will make them sad. And they just, for some strange reason, they
go,
just love
go
that.
back to him. Yeah, yeah. The
It,
romance.
so, I mean, it's like, hey, I saw Old Yeller when I was a kid once.
Yeah, I
I
don't
did
need to see it
not
again.
need to see that movie
No,
again. I have
no.
Why? What
never
happens?
in my life
You need to
sat
watch it,
down
Adam.
and
What
said,
happens?
you
I'm
know
not going to tell
what?
you.
I need a good cry. Let me put on Old
Old
Yeller
Yeller,
and get all
where
this shit out. I don't
where
do
the
that.
where the red ferns grow. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, neither nor. I think, and the thing is, and it's been proven time and time again that typically people that go back to those types of relationships, they came from it, something in their past, and it becomes comfortable. And you think, well, how could you be comfortable in something that's abusive or toxic or bad? Humans, we're fucking weird, man. We're fucking weird, and it's what we do. We go back to things that are comfortable, things that we know, and it's a fucking shame. And in those situations, a lot of these women will go back to these abusive relationships until one day they wind up dead. And again, that happens all the fucking time. And people, they're like, why? Well, because at some point that's what they came from, and they never break the fucking cycle. And it's not easy. Therapy is fucking expensive. Therapy is a fucking privilege, and that's a shame. And it's just the way that the U.S. at least views mental health, right? And you're it, it's okay to be on drugs for high blood pressure and cholesterol and everything else, but if you tell somebody you're on some kind of medication for a mental health issue, it's like, oh, like you can feel the tension in the room all of a sudden.
The
you know,
judginess.
the judginess, yeah, exactly. But like, oh, they make something for that fucking judginess too. It's called slap. Uh, People get on. Adam and I were discussing this. People get on like the blood pressure medication, but they don't change their diet. They don't exercise. They're like, nah, I got these pills.
Yeah, now I
Uh,
don't have to exercise.
no, I don't have to exercise. Right? They've got cholesterol meds. If you're gonna if you're gonna go get on meds for mental health issues, I personally think that in order to get them, you have to do in conjunction with therapy. Right? I think to get them, you have to sign up for like a few sessions of therapy because the pills aren't going to fix anything. The pills are like Tylenol. They'll help the symptoms, but they're not going to help the root cause, just like blood pressure medications won't. Did I amuse you, Doug?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, it's an I
I have a
know.
related story.
Go for it.
Well, when I was in Charlotte and I figured out that I had, I'd known for a while that I had ADD, and the particular job function that I was performing at the time was terribly tedious and boring.
Yeah, it
And
was.
so,
Yeah, it was.
I had focus issues. So
Fuck us.
I went to a uh, a psychiatrist to prescribe me the medication. But weirdly enough, my insurance company wanted me to take therapy since I was being prescribed medication for attention deficit disorder.
Huh.
And so I had therapy sessions in Charlotte, and but it was something, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect, that I'm whatever else, but I'm generally, with the exception of the ADHD, I'm fairly, I think, not too far off the norm. Am I neurotypical? No, but it's like I don't have any major issues at this point in my life that I needed to deal with. I really could have used therapy in my 20s, like really bad. Yeah,
I think every fucking dude, chick, kid, everybody needs therapy in their 20s.
especially
but
now.
Right?
eventually the therapist told me, she was like, there's nothing that you really need. I'll sign the forms or whatever for the insurance company, or send them a report, whatever she needed to do for them. But it was basically a waste of both of our times. Because she tried to get me to date, so I went out, did some dating. I was like, I've thought about that. I've been thinking about that for a while. That didn't work out. Turned out like I thought it would. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's okay. I'm good.
Yeah, that
How'd you
didn't
get the
work out.
carbon sample out of them?
Well,
Anyway,
I had to pull
so
out this special drill, and then charges were filed.
right. Hold still.
I'm trying to date you.
But that's really interesting because I've never heard that. I've never heard that situation come up before, and that's, to me, that's exactly how it should go. Before a psychiatrist can give you any kind of medication, I feel like a therapist should see you because, again, in most cases, I guess with ADHD, I don't know, man. I think ADHD can definitely, if you have a therapist that understands ADHD and can help you understand some of the overstimulation, understimulation, that sine wave that you're going to go through about 10 times a day. Um, I think that could help, but I guess, yeah, in general, a therapist may not be as effective with ADHD symptoms, and it depends on your symptoms too, right? I mean, ADHD comes in a lot of flavors, um,
Yep.
but I think that in general, I'll say antidepressants. Then having
Any
been on
sort of
them.
thing that could be considered by anybody a mood stabilizer.
Yeah. Because you got to get to the root of. I think things like depression and anxiety have so many fucking triggers and symptoms, or not symptoms, but causes that it's really hard. Is it a physiology thing, like a biology thing? Is your excuse me, are your serotonin receptors, uptaking too quickly? Is your body not making enough? Or they've done studies where they've taken people that have been in prolonged stress situations. They call it CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder, just meaning that it's lasted longer. It's not like a car wreck or a mugging, an assault, something like that. It's where it's been prolonged. And they did this a lot with guys in the military, and they did MRIs and stuff on their brains. And what was interesting is that their brain physiology actually changed, like the way that neurons passed and where they passed and things like that changed, um, because of prolonged stress. So they know that prolonged stress can actually change the physiology of your brain, which I think is fascinating. So, like, is the depression and anxiety a physiology thing, or is it, you know, psychological. I think it's a little bit of everything, and I think that's why you guys know, right? We've been troubleshooting experts for years, all three of us, and we know that when problems get really complex and there's a little fuckery from column A and a little fuckery from column B, right? Those problems are a little harder to figure out than all of the fuckery was right here. I found the fuckery, I scooped the fuckery out, and I threw the fuckery away, and now everything is working sans fuckery. But when your fuckery comes from different places, it's a lot harder to figure out, right?
You're supposed to recycle fuckery. You're not supposed to throw
Mm,
it out like that.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, it's
Thank you for.
recyclable.
I appreciate that.
I'll be
I will.
letting the HOA know that you haven't been recycling
I
your
have.
fuckery.
I have not been recycling my fuckery. No, typically when I find fuckery, I get rid of it as quickly as possible. So I guess that's what the green buckets are for, right? Are those the fuck buckets?
Yeah, those are the fuckery buckets, and then you have
Okay,
glass and plastic.
that makes a lot of sense, and I was curious what that particular bucket was for. So that's I don't want anyone to think that I don't love the planet, and as we know, there is a shortage of fuckery these days.
Yeah,
Well,
big
yeah,
Uh,
you
supply
got to
chain
watch
issue.
out for it though. It takes a lot of labor to break it down because sometimes there's toxic fuckery.
mm,
Yeah, and
yeah,
that
he's
takes
got a
extra
point.
steps. You got to let the
Yeah.
mercury and shit out of that.
Well, you got to check the number on the bottom of the fuckery to see, because like the different number will tell you like if you can recycle the fuckery easily, or if it's toxic fuckery, or if it's just run of the mill fuckery. Right, your run of the mill fuckery you're going to run across every day, and I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
that's recyclable because I feel like I've never experienced a shortage of just day to day fuckery. You know?
Well, sometimes you can take your fuckery and you can give it to other people and they find out.
Yes, yes. I have definitely fucked around and found out before myself.
Yeah.
And then wound up with some fuckery that was not mine. Well, I mean, it became mine after I found out the fuckery then did belong to me. So
Yeah. Sometimes you can get fucked transitively.
Verbal diarrhea.
he's been hovering over that button for a long time.
Yes, I have.
Like, how long are they going to stretch this fucking bit out? Speaking of fuckery.
Well, he just closed the loop. See, he opened the door for it, and that was the
Mhm.
closed loop end of the fuckery. Because God knows we probably shouldn't fucking talk about fuckery anymore at this fucking point.
I disagree. I think the subject of fuckery is an endless supply of both entertainment, information, and joy for most people. I think most people can relate to a lot of fuckery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really do. So,
Yeah,
speaking of
yeah, I
fuckery,
really do.
speaking of fuckery, shut up, Adam. Speaking of fuckery, um, the Bullshirt podcast is coming up on what, 3 years?
Yeah,
2 years?
2020. So this would be
Yeah,
3 years.
yeah.
Oh
Our
wow.
first our first one was Valentine's Day. It was a Friday, I believe, February 14th, 2020. So
What a way to spend Valentine's Day.
yeah, it was the four of us. And what's funny is that the chick that I was dating at the time broke up with me via text message in the middle of that podcast. So you guys were talking, we were just chit chatting, and I got a message. I looked down and I saw her name, and I'm like, what? And I read it, and I'm like, what the fuck? It was one of those, I just don't think you're into it anymore. So, and I was just like, yeah, okay. And I put the phone down and went back to the podcast. And then I got bitched out for that later. We wound up not, I don't remember. That was one of those goofy, like, I was getting laid after my divorce, and it was, not bad. So I said, fuck it, and just kept doing it. But, till I finally got sick of that fuckery and just moved on. But
So what you're saying is you fucked around and you found out.
I did find out, yeah. And then once I did find out, I recycled that fuckery into something else. But yeah, I got bitched at later about during another fight about how you were just like, okay, whatever. Well, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like, because to me that's games. That's fucking games, bro. If,
Yeah.
if you're
You're
gonna if
supposed
you're
to
gonna
fight for me.
right, no, negative,
You're
nine
supposed to
yet.
talk me into dating you even though I don't want to.
Thank you. Thank you for putting it that way. Because when you say it like that out loud, it's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I went through the same thing. Don't worry.
Are you fucking kidding me? No, you don't want to date me? Okay, that's a bummer. Yep, I'm gonna feel a little pain, a little rejection. I'm gonna feel a little loss, and then I'm gonna move on. I read something not, I guess it's been about a year ago, and it said, "Don't worry about whether or not he or she is going to hurt you, break your heart, whatever. Worry about whether or not you can handle it if they do." And that has been the guiding principle for me and dating ever since. And I realize now that it kind of was there after my divorce, but it wasn't as eloquent as that little, blurb. But if you think about that, that is the most important part. People are like, oh, I don't want to get my heart broken, whatever. I don't care. Because I can handle it. It doesn't matter. I can handle it. I had a 15-year marriage. 15-year-old. That could have went the wrong direction. That could have went the wrong direction
Yikes.
real fucking fast. Um,
Adam, do you have any sirens on that soundboard of yours?
I don't. I will have them ready next time.
all right.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
glad we're not clipping things again. Um, I had a 15-year marriage dissolve in front of me that I did not want to dissolve. Once you've gone through that, that changes your dating habits. It changes everything really. But
Hence
yeah,
why I could have used a therapist in my
in
20s.
your 20s, right? I mean, and I I did get therapy fairly a few years after my divorce, and because I just like fell apart for like 1,000 different fucking reasons. That 3 years was a shit show for me, and like my physical health, my mental health, uh, relationships, just everything fell apart for me. I was hanging on by a fucking thread. But the the now it's just whatever. I mean, ah.
Veto alert!
Stop resisting! Stop resisting! There you go. There you go. Um, yeah, you need to be in a place where if somebody breaks up with you or leaves you, not that you're not, not that you're just going to be whatever, because then you're probably wasting your time to begin with. But if you're dating somebody and they leave you and your whole world falls apart, it wasn't a healthy relationship. If someone, Doug and I were, I think, discussing this, or may have been me and Adam, but the whole idea of you complete me. So basically, you were bringing in half of a fucking human being into this relationship. Well, now I feel like I got cheated. I need a
I
whole.
wanted a whole person.
All right, I need a whole fucking human being with their own
Yeah.
thoughts, their own opinions, their own job, their own goals. You know what I mean?
Their own shit to do.
Right. I want you to be a whole person and we'll, orbit around each other and have a great fucking time. But when you say you complete me, what you're telling me is that you had pieces missing when you came into this relationship. And that's not fair. I'm not going to do that to anybody. I'm not going to ask anybody to be my missing fucking pieces. I want you to enhance what the fuck I've got. Sure. I mean, I think that's my friends. I mean, I expect my friends to enhance me and make me a better person. I mean, I'm stuck with you two fuckers, but one day I'm going to find friends that enhance me and make me a better person. But until then,
I heard this lady say once that she didn't need to be on antidepressants because she had her husband who made her happy enough now. And I was like, that ain't good. This is not going to end well. Yeah.
tick, 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 tick. And then he dies and she loses her shit, falls apart for a couple of years before she winds up, drinking her liver into inflamed nonsense. Like, no, no, no. If that's what you're doing, if you think there's somebody in your life that, completes you or is your antidepressant, you might want to rethink things. And I know the 4 people that listen to this are all going to give me shit and tell me I'm wrong, but I'm not. And I will fight you. So literally tell me where you are. I will fly there and we will physically fight. We will duel. So
So
just tell
what you
me.
want out of a relationship with me is male enhancement pills?
I
That's what I got
want
out of that.
male enhancement. Yes. Right.
That's
Because you
weird.
are male. You're my friend. I want enhancement. Transitive property. I want male enhancement from you. Yes.
All right, I shot you a link.
Cool. Make my dick bigger, Doug. That's what I want. I want you to make my dick.
Enhance
I
your-
want you to make my dick big, throbbing, and veiny. I want
Yeah.
veiny
Well, I have that
cock.
effect on some people. Just
You
saying.
do, I'm sure. Guaranteed. I'm guaranteed. And you know what? If there is a gay guy out there that gets a throbbing, meaty kielbasa cock for me, I am flattered. I'm just going to go out. I'm just going to go on record as saying that I am flattered. Thank you. Right? I mean, you're out of luck. I'm not going to do anything with it, but
Yeah.
sorry. It's funny watching a show. I won't mention any names or anything because I know some folks haven't seen anything, but watching a show and there was some very homoerotic um, themes in it, right? And that stuff, like, it doesn't bother me, but at the same time, when I see it to a certain degree, I'm like, ew, I can't watch it for a long period. It kind of bothers me a little. But at the same time, I'm not homophobic. I don't care what other people do. Right. And there are folks who would say that I'm a homophobic, that I'm a terrible person because I can't sit and watch, gay sex and be like, haha, this is entertaining. And I don't think that's fair, like, I don't know. I don't think that's fair to
Okay. Well,
assume I'm a bad person.
by the same token, it's like, okay, considering we led in this whole podcast with food, let's use a food analogy.
All right.
Say, for instance, you find seafood disgusting and or you're allergic to it and also find it disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to sit there and watch about a program about the best way to cook a salmon fillet while your stomach is sitting there churning? You're like, oh God, that looks like the worst thing in the fucking world. I don't want any of that.
Right.
And that's where I fall. If it's on there and it's part of the thing and it's part of the story, it's okay. But
Mhm.
I'm not going to stop it and hit rewind
Right.
and watch it again, or I'm not going to seek it out and go to the movie theater. It was like there was a movie that came out not too long ago. It was something that was probably about 6 months ago, 9 months ago, and it was a gay male love story. It was.
Was it the one with the kid from?
I don't even remember, and it's like when I saw the advertisement for it, I was. When I saw the advertisement, I was like, well, yeah, I'm definitely not going to the movie theater to see that one. And apparently, there were a lot of people who felt the same way or were unaware of it. And when
Mhm.
the movie didn't do that well at the box office, they were like, well, it turned into a gay bashing,
Yeah. Yeah.
lifestyle hating. No,
Yeah.
it's like, no, that product was not designed for me.
Right. It's a niche. It's really a niche market, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a male and
And-
female love story there are more, I'm guessing, more heterosexual people than there are homosexual people. And so you would have a smaller market that you would be, you know, making that for. And I was trying to think, it was the kid from Big Bang Theory. Um, I can't think of his name all of a sudden, but there was this like Christmas rom com type thing where he takes the guy home to meet his parents and all this stuff, and it actually looked like a fun movie and I wanted to see it. But you're right. I probably wouldn't have gone to the movie theater to see it. Like, and not even really because of the gay themes. Just it's not the type of movie I'm going to spend the money and go deal with a crowd for. Now, Cocaine Bear, that's a completely different story, but we'll
Oh
get to
yeah,
that
I'm
later.
fucking there.
Even if the bear's gay, I don't care. I just want to see
Now,
him, get jacked up on
if
cocaine.
if it was a gay love story that led to a chain of events where a bear ingested a large amount of cocaine and then went on a murder spree,
I would
I
still
would
go see that.
I
Yes.
would put up with the front part to get to the
Yes.
back part.
Yes.
You know,
That's what
I'm
she
just
said.
saying.
Yeah, that I would do the same. So I just, like I said, I think it's unfair that just because I'm not like super into homosexual themes that somehow that makes me a bad person. Like I said, I'm not, and I don't care what you do. But like, if I go out and I see two guys at a party, and I have seen this. I was just reminiscing today about 2002. I had packed up everything I owned into a '96 Dodge Neon and drove from the little podunk northeast town in Ohio to Columbus, and lived on campus with some buddies of mine in what was effectively a room. It was an efficiency on a college campus, so you can imagine. Um,
Like 400 square feet.
yeah, exactly. So three of us and a dog, But I was exposed to a ton of things that prior to I had never seen, different races and different ethnicities and homosexuals and a lot of things that I had been taught my whole life was quote unquote wrong or bad or evil or was going to kill me in my sleep or something. And
It made
no, had
Jesus unhappy.
make Jesus unhappy, yes, which
Yeah.
I already stated in another episode that Jesus was a pedophile. But had friends that were gay and dearly loved them, thought they were fantastic human beings. Watched gay couples do their thing, went to gay bars with them. Like, so it doesn't bother me like to see guys showing physical affection to each other, but it's like there comes a point where I get uncomfortable with it. And I don't know why. And of course, back then they told me it was because I was gay and I just needed to let them suck my cock. And I was like, no, John, I know what you're doing, you fucker. And he would laugh and say, but you don't know if you haven't tried it. And I'm like, I've never snorted bleach, but I don't want to do that either. John was a fucker and he tried to get my dick in his mouth a lot through
Oh,
nefarious.
fucker and a sucker.
Yeah, exactly. Through nefarious means. He was a sumbitch, but I loved him dearly. He was a great dude. So it doesn't bother me, but there is a point of diminishing return for me where it makes me physically uncomfortable. And again, I think it's biological. I think there's a little, again, flaxseed sized part of my brain that goes, no.
Well, let's just take this down that path. The first time you ever saw, um, like, say, some porn, and
Mhm.
some guy is doing a chick doggy style, and you
Hell
saw
yeah.
that and you thought, "Wow, I'd like to do that."
Yeah.
And we're back to the cooking show analogy.
Yeah.
Now, if you saw a scene in a movie where you see some guy railing on another guy, did you think, "Ooh, I want to do that,"
I
or
did
did you
not.
think, "No, that's
I did not.
No.
good for you, but that's not for me"?
Exactly. I watched it for a second and was like, huh, no, I mean, yeah, good for you two. Looks like you're both enjoying the shit out of that. I don't know how because that is a giant cock, but okay. Yeah, and that's always been my thing is that I don't care what other people do, whether I like it, dislike it, whether it makes me uncomfortable. I've seen
Yes.
straight porn that makes me uncomfortable. Been like,
Yeah.
no, that's no. So, Doug, like you and I do the whole earworm thing, right?
Yeah.
And we try to we'll call each other and like play a song, or we'll start singing a song and make the other one get a song stuck in their head. Because again, when you have ADHD and intrusive thoughts, that's really fucking easy to do. So I had a buddy back in the day, and what we used to do was we would email each other links to the most disgusting fucking porn we could find. Right.
Oh yeah, I played that game.
Right. And sometimes it was weird gay porn, with like fecal matter involved and things of that nature. And I remember I sent him one of this giant, rotund, overweight redhead and this skinny little kid dude. He was, like a rail, but he's got a cock the size of a yardstick, and he's fucking the shit out of her while she's on her period. Right. So there is blood everywhere, and they're like playing in it and shit. Like it was literally putting a gag lump in my throat. And I sent it to him. And a few hours later, I got a call and he said, I quit. I'm done. You win. I quit. You win. He's like, do you understand? You win. I'm done. And I was like, thank God, because I don't think I can do this anymore. I'm going to take the W and move on. So basically, what are you going to tell me is that I'm a period bloodophobe, like, because I was like, no, that's not for me. But I'm not going to kink shame somebody. Like, don't get it on my sheets, right? But I'm not going to kink shame you for it if you like to play in menstrual blood, if that's your thing, if you're a shark or whatever, you know? So I don't think that particularly makes you a bad person for not liking something. I think if you discriminate against somebody, I think if you are hateful towards somebody because of what they like to do sexually or physically or whatever, short of, Jesus pedophilia, then that's what makes you an asshole. So that's me.
Point blank, period, end of story.
Period.